Have you seen rent prices or listing prices change in your city since late 2025? Are things getting easier or still tight where you live? In this video, I'm going to unpack what the population dip means for rental prices, home prices, and mortgages, and where you might see relief or risk in your own neighborhood. Canada just recorded its first annual population decline on record. StatsCan's preliminary estimate puts the population at 41,472,000 as of January 1st, 2026, about 102,000 fewer people than a year earlier. The big driver? A steep drop in non-permanent residents and a small natural decrease. Today we unpack what this means for rents, home prices, mortgages, and policy, and why this shift could present real opportunities if policymakers and the market respond smartly. So what happened? Well, in 2023, Canada saw a huge population surge, roughly 3.2% growth, driven largely by temporary residents, international students, and temporary foreign workers. And that surge created intense demand for rentals, for condos, and entry-level homes in major cities. Fast forward to late 2025, early 2026, about 171,000 fewer non-permanent residents in the fourth quarter led to the annual decline. Permit renewals and administrative updates could revise numbers slightly, but the picture points to a normalization of population growth through 2027 before settling at a slower baseline. So what are the immediate effects on rental properties? Well, the most obvious housing impact is on rental markets, cities that absorbed a large number of temporary residents, part of Ontario and British Columbia in particular. These are starting to see eased pressure. Fewer temporary renters means higher vacancy rates and slower rent growth in the tightest submarkets. For renters, this can bring immediate relief, more available units and less upward pressure on monthly rents. If you're a landlord, you may need to adjust pricing and marketing, especially for smaller units and condos that previously targeted international students and transient workers. So what about the for sale market and the effect on mortgages? For the resale market, the change will be uneven. Entry-level demand is likely to soften in neighborhoods that catered heavily to temporary residents, which may temper price growth, or it may produce modest corrections in overheated condo markets. That said, mortgage demand won't disappear, it will just shift. Interprovincial migration patterns matter more now. Alberta, for example, continues to attract residents from other provinces and looks more resilient. Lenders and brokers should expect borrowers to emerge from different regions and life stages, not just from the temporary resident cohort. What provinces are the winners and who are the losers? Well, this population dip amplifies regional divergence. Ontario, Quebec, and BC recorded net declines, while provinces like Alberta posted moderate growth and led interprovincial inflows. So very important, a temporary slowdown doesn't erase Canada's long-term supply shortfall. CMHC warns of a multi-million unit gap by 2030 if construction remains below the need. And this is important. The current pause in demand should be treated as a planning window, not a reason to delay action. Underbuilding over years created structural problems that 1/4 of the population decline won't fix. So there are genuine upsides here. Rent stabilization. Slower inflows can give renters breathing room and reduce upward pressure on rental costs in hot markets. Better entry opportunities. Calmer price growth in some submarkets can create affordable entry points for first-time homebuyers. Policy window. Governments now have time to prioritize the right types of housing. Family-sized units, affordable rental, mid-density options, and the ability to push zoning, land use reforms without the urgency of a crisis. Quality over quantity. Builders can shift focus from racing to add units to improving building quality, energy efficiency, and retrofits that improve existing stock. So what do we watch moving forward? Well, if you rent, watch local vacancy rates and listing volumes. If vacancies rise and listings stick around longer, renters may have a lot of negotiation leverage. If you're looking to buy a property, focus on fundamentals. Job market, schools, transit, and the right unit type. Some condo-heavy submarkets could face softer demand. If you build or invest, prioritize markets with durable job growth and consider pivoting to family-sized and mid-density supply. Policymakers should accelerate targeted zoning reform and invest in regional infrastructure aligned where people are moving to. So what are the risks? What are the caveats? Well, here's a few cautions. Population figures could be revised as permit renewals are processed. Policy changes to international student and temporary worker rules could shift flows again. And localized shortages will persist where supply doesn't match the type of housing demanded, even if the national population growth is flat. What's the bottom line? Canada's population decline reframes the housing conversation. It cools some immediate pressures and offers a rare window to shift from rapid quantity to smarter, more equitable supply. But the underlying need for well-targeted housing investment, that remains. If this is done right, this moment can reduce rent pressure, create better entry points for buyers, and give policymakers the breathing room to fix all of the fundamentals. If you found this useful, like and subscribe for more on housing economics and policy. Drop your questions for local observations in the comments. Where are you seeing rental relief or continued tightness? I'll read them and cover the most pressing trends in future videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.